I'm going to try and make this as interesting as possible, as fun as possible, as much as that can be to talk about abuse, right? And so, this topic makes me so sad in that we know way too much about sexual abuse, that why it happens as much as it does to this day just makes me mad. But one of the things, I want to give you some research about this because we've got some misnomers out there. Have you heard, why people molest? A lot of times we bought into this belief that people molest because they were molested. Does that make a lot of sense? Why would I do something to somebody else that was done to me and I didn't like it? But that was kind of the theory about 15 years ago. Now, there is no demographic. There is no one profile to identify someone that abuses, especially sexually abuses. So it cuts across all ages, all races, all economics, whether you're rich or poor, black or white, it doesn't, educated or not, it doesn't matter. There's nothing that is a predictor of it. And so that's why this is really important, because it's really hard to identify. I admit, I wish we had child predator across their head so that I know just to go kick their butt and tell them to, leave our town or whatever. But it's not like identifying a toupee or something like that. So, and it is still, I'm not trying to forgive me guys, I'm not picking on you, but it does tend to be more men that do the sexual abuse than women, although it is increasing. One of the reasons this is so important, how many of you have heard on the news about the whole Penn State thing? The coach that molested how many students? How he got away with molesting that many kids and nobody said anything. How sad. And people, other adults knew it was going on. Friends knew it was going on and nobody said it. And so I implore you, I beg of you, every single one of you in this room, do not be one of those people at Penn State, whether it be a friend or an adult, that looked the other way instead of speaking up. A child needs you to be their advocate, to be their protector, to stand up for them. How many of you have needed someone to stand up for you? And so if someone is going to speak up, if you notice something and you don't do anything with it, the damage you create, the harm you create for that person is far greater than to speak up and say something, okay? So there's 3 responses that when people have been molested, the one that says something and people respond, heal really quickly. Not that there's not issues, but they heal a lot faster. The people that say something and nobody does a darn thing about it, they don't believe them, they don't take action, they don't get them the help, they take forever, sometimes never heal from it, because why should they? Nobody thought they were important enough to fight for them. So why should they care about themselves? Why should they heal? And then there's the other one that never say anything. And sometimes don't say anything on until their adult years. They can still heal. It takes a little bit longer because now they've got years of decisions that they made based on this abuse that they didn't realize was affecting it. Does that make sense? And so, again, this isn't something like, you're watching like, all right, are you one of those people that have been hurt? Are you one of those people doing something bad? It's not like that, but just being able to say the relationship that you build with these children matters. You really, really, really do make a difference in these kids' lives. And sometimes you might be the only person they have that's safe enough in their life to tell something like this to. Okay? So this is huge. You guys have a great opportunity to heal and to help protect other kids. Forgive me, I'm looking at my notes, but I have so much information that I want to make sure I get to you guys that I don't want to forget anything. So let me give you some of the stats. 80,000 times in 1 year, child sexual abuse is reported. And I think that it is twice, if not 3 times more than that, because of how many kids never say a word. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, about why kids don't say anything. 80,000 times. Can you imagine how many times it's happening? And it's happening in our own neighborhoods. This is a key that I really want you to hear. 93% of all people that are molested knew the person that was molested, or knew the molester, knew the person that was abusing them. They know the person. Now think about this for a second. How much time do we spend talking about stranger danger, right? That's why you can't ride your bike like we used to down the road, right? But the truth is, yes, there's a stranger danger. Yes, but the chances of you getting kidnapped are far less than for you to be molested. So why are we not talking about that it's the people we know that could possibly be our biggest predators? Now the truth is, one of the reasons I think everybody in here is background checked or they have to do something right, that's why those screenings are so important. Because we want to make sure that we have safe people working with us. Now what's one of the problems with all the background checks? It only works if you've been caught. That's how the Penn State guy got away with it as long as he did, because nobody reported him. So every time he had a background check, there was nothing to find. And that's why it's so important to hold people accountable for their actions. Isn't that fascinating though? 93% you know the person, but we worry about the people we don't know. Okay, so here's another one. 75 to 95% of all 13-year-olds to 18-year-olds, these are girls that are in the justice system, have been molested. And yet 75 to 95% are in the justice system, meaning they're in juvie or they're in jail, they've committed some crime. Do you see how it can set you up for long-term stuff that you don't want to have to deal with? This was another one that I thought was fascinating. The odds, you are 27 times more likely to end up in prostitution from being molested. That's huge. Why? Because it messes with your how you see yourself. That all you see yourself is damaged goods. All you see yourself is an object. So I'm going to live it out. Especially they find it more with the kids that said something and nobody did anything to protect them. Powerful, isn't it? Huge. You think about the friends you know. 1 in 3 girls are being molested and 1 in 6 boys. You have friends that you are around right now that have gone through it or are going through it. Are you someone safe for them to be able to tell? Maybe for some of you, you're that stacked. Have you told anybody? Because that's one of those secrets that's not worth living with. Because of the price tag on the other side, the damage it does to you and how you see and feel about yourself. Some of the things that we know about why people molest, and this is kind of like a little creepy to think about, but important to understand. Again, I said they might have been molested. That might be one factor. They might have been physically abused. That might be another factor. The other factor is that they were exposed to too much sexual content without education. Meaning, don't get me wrong, it's never okay for young people to be watching porn. It's not okay for anybody at any age to be watching that. But like movies that have a lot of explicit scenes in it. I've got a client who grew up with a mom who had lots of boyfriends, and mom and boyfriends were very sexually active in front of him. Well, what happens is you think that that's a normal part of life, and guess what? So he acted out in ways later in life because he thought the only way to get love was to do that. That's what happened, and so he got himself in trouble by acting inappropriate because there was too much information, too young without being able to understand it. Does that make sense? The other part is curiosity. Do you know that porn sites intentionally try and target you? Do you know that legitimate websites that you have gone on or regularly go on, your websites lapse. Every year you got to renew your domain name. That's, whatever the website name is, right? So when you let it lapse, the porn sites go in and buy those sites because they know that site has a following, that there's people that come check it out. And so they do that so that innocently you go to this website that you thought was safe, and all of a sudden these pictures pop up. Forgive me again, tends to be you boys that tend to go, wow, that's interesting, that's curious. And so you go click, oh, that's kind of curious, click. No, don't get me wrong, it's innocent curiosity, I get it. But the challenge with it is you think, oh, well, that's interesting, oh, that's interesting, oh, that's interesting, And you keep looking, and then before you know it, you're interested in going back and looking again, and then you're interested in going back and looking again, and that's where the problem comes in. Does that make sense? And they innocently, sexual addiction is the only one you can accidentally get into because you can find it in ways that you didn't expect to find it in. If you want to be a drug addict, you gotta go find it, right? I get it, you're offered it sometimes too, but you you have to make a choice in that moment to say, I want to take this. You get educated all the time about don't do drugs, right? But with sexual addiction, it can be something so innocent and so private because it's just at home. More kids, 70% of kids online, and I say kids, forgive me, I don't mean that rude, but to say adolescents, this doesn't sound, kids 13 to 18, 70% of you are solicited online. How many of you have had that happen to you? Now, when I say when solicited, it can be an innocent, somebody you don't know, possibly, or somebody you do know from a neighborhood. Hey, liked your pictures. You sure are cute. And then it goes from there, and then you strike up a conversation. I actually have a client right now that was mad at her dad, got online. This boy from, she's in twins, he's from Jerome, and he's like, you sure look nice, you sure look cute, I sure like to get to know you better. So they struck up a conversation. Well, guess what? He wasn't interested because she was so nice. He was interested, and sure enough got her to walk 2 miles to go have sex with him. Her dad made her mad, and so she acted it out. She's 15. Crazy, right? We're smarter than that. We know how to make better choices than that. But she would have never had the opportunity if the boy hadn't solicited her online. I'm 41 years old. And I get solicited online. Like, what the hell are you thinking? I'm like old and moldy. I got 2 kids, right? But
So true.
okay, so then I'm telling a story. So it doesn't matter because people who want to take advantage of people will find anyone who will be vulnerable enough, and can I just say, dumb enough and naive enough to take them up and take them at their word, right? Because it doesn't matter, it can be money, it can be sex, it can be different things, but all of those things matter, don't they? And so paying attention to that, that's why we have controls on the computer. That's why it matters what kids are looking at on the computer. Because you start in one spot and it doesn't stop there. Do you know that porn has a progression to it? It starts with Victoria's Secret magazines, or it starts with what we call soft porn, which is like a Playboy. Or a magazine of some sort, and then it moves to pictures on the internet, and then it moves to action on the internet, and then it moves to couples, and then it moves to threesomes, and then it moves to more hardcore stuff. It never stays with the one thing it started with, okay? Never. I know this is such like, you feel like back, we have a 6th grader and a 5th grader, and they had their puberty talks a month ago, and so this feels so awkward to be talking about. I'm like, okay, let's have fun here. But it's an important topic to talk about as well, because if you don't know the information, how do you know how to protect yourself? And how do you know how to protect these kids? Because a lot of these kids that you are working with, they don't come from homes where they have parents watching and caring and putting boundaries in place. I never want to parent my kids from a place of fear. Oh, don't look at that. Oh, don't talk to them. Oh, don't watch that. No. I taught you how to make good choices. I taught you right from wrong. I taught you how to pay attention, and you can make good choices for yourself. But if you don't have a parent there to do that, they need you guys to help do that. Hey, wait a second. We don't look at this because that's not a great thing to be watching. We had that the other night, right? We were teaching a parenting class, and we just happened to be done and walked out to the computers, and they're watching 2 girls dancing in ways that I'm like, I don't think so. You don't watch this kind of stuff. But they never have been told, no, wait, this isn't okay. You know why it's not okay? Because of where it leads our minds to think about. A quick little definition thing. Do you know what the difference between a pedophile and a child molester is? Because these words get used a lot interchangeably, and I want you to understand the difference. A pedophile is somebody who likes children in very inappropriate ways. They dream about them, they think about them, they only want to have sexual relations with a child, not an adult. That's a pedophile. A child molester is somebody who actually acts out those thoughts, those desires, and acts out that sexual behavior with a child, but may also be having sexual relations with an adult. Does that make sense? So a child molester will have a dual relationship. They want children, but they also have adult relationships. The pedophile only wants children, but will fantasize about them, doesn't necessarily act them out. Okay? So you could have a child molester who is also a pedophile, because he only wants children. And forgive me again, I know I'm still using men, but that's the greatest thing. So, how does this affect you guys? Do you know that 49%, remember that 70% of kids that get solicited online, 50% of them never tell a parent. Why don't you tell parents things? Why don't you tell your parents things? I promise I won't report back to them. You don't want to get in trouble. And what makes you think you're going to get in trouble? Because you were doing so, you were participating in the conversation or whatever it might be. Yeah. Anybody else? Why don't you tell your parents anything? Yes.
Like hour-long lectures.
Yeah, it's kind of like hour-long trainings. No. Yes, because you get lectures, so you get talked at instead of listened to. It might be taken away. That's a huge one. Can I just say right now, I'm a parent, right? I don't get parents who punish their child for being honest. If my child came and they don't get Facebook, I know I'm a mean parent. If my kid was on Facebook and they came and said, Mom, I got solicited, this person asked me for naked pictures of me on the computer, I'd look at it with them, but how many parents then say, that's it, you're off Facebook? That's it, you don't get email anymore. I don't get that. You punished your child for being honest. So what does that teach you guys? Don't say another word, right? So if your parents ever do that to you, you can tell them to call me and I'll talk to them, okay? Because it doesn't work, and I want you to have open communication with your parents. Absolutely. Anybody else? Why don't you tell your parents?
Afraid of disappointment.
Afraid they're going to be disappointed? Absolutely. And the truth is, guys, it doesn't matter how old you are, you never want your parents to be disappointed in you. I still want my parents to be proud of me. I still want them to think, wow, Kristi's doing a great job as a mom, as a wife, as a counselor. It doesn't go away. True? You adults in the room, you want your parents to be proud of you. Doesn't matter how old you get. The other reason that I find that kids don't tell parents anything is because they don't think the parents will understand. And it is different generations, and the truth is, you guys deal with things that we didn't deal with when we were in school. You didn't. The truth is, when I was in high school, 21 years ago, we didn't worry about girls being the aggressors. Only the boys were. Now, the boys and the girls are just as big of aggressors. You didn't have to worry about text messaging anybody. You didn't have to worry about this whole child pornography on your phone. Never. It just wasn't a part of our life. Internet. So, yeah, can I tell you, Sam didn't ever use a computer, even in high school. I mean, in college. I had to show him how to use a computer in college. He used to use the typewriter. Ding, 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 ding.
Typewriter, yeah.
Yeah, so I helped him. Yeah. Can I tell you a quick side story? So, the first time I met Sam, I had just finished a volleyball game in college. And I had my friend there. And Sam, I had met his roommate friend before Sam got back to college, because he was a sophomore and I was a freshman. So right after the volleyball game, he comes out to the court, right? And so I'm down, I'm dripping with sweat because I just got done. And he had a jean jacket on. It was not as cool as mine. But he had a jean jacket on and he walks up and he's like, hey. And I'm like, hey. Cool. So he dated my friend and I dated his friend. So
apparently it worked out.
that's called missionary dating.
Okay, got it.
Have you ever heard of missionary dating?
Off the other chair.
He had dated the guy to try and save him because he felt sorry for him. No, he's a great guy. Great catch. I'm very happy. So. Anyway, okay, so I want to tell you, do you know what grooming is? Not like doing your hair and washing your face and putting your deodorant on. Grooming is when somebody intentionally starts developing a relationship with you so that they can harm you. Have you heard of that concept at all? It's an important one to understand because there's some very specific steps that people take to do it. And so one, I want you to be aware for your own life, but also aware because it doesn't matter. Do you know you can be on into high school? These kids that got molested, some of them were in college. Okay? This wasn't just necessarily little kids that couldn't protect themselves. And so grooming behavior has 6 specific steps to it. First, you target the victim. The victim is always somebody that doesn't have a lot of friends, low self-esteem, and is just generally insecure. They're kind of isolated. Can you picture somebody in your school right now who's kind of the loner, who's kind of the odd one, who doesn't have a strong family system, right? They get picked on a lot. Those are the people oftentimes that they look for to pick on. Then they gain the victim's trust by spending time with them, maybe playing with them, doing activities that they really enjoy doing. So they build a relationship with them. They start building trust. And then they start feeling a need. And this is where the turn starts to happen. So let's say you need extra help with your schoolwork. Maybe you want extra help with your basketball skills. Maybe you just want somebody to hang out with after school. So they start filling this need. Maybe you don't have a dad in your life, and so I'll be your dad, and I'll take you to your games, and I'll take you for ice cream, kind of thing. I'll give you that fatherly advice, okay? So they start getting you dependent on them. And then from there they go to isolating the child, meaning they start saying, I'll take you over here. Well, you don't need to be with your friends. You and I let's go get a Coke together. Well, you don't need to go be with your mom. Let's just go over here by ourselves. Okay, so they start pulling you away from everybody. And then they start sexualizing the relationship. This starts often as a game. So it'll be like, they'll give you something to put behind your hands. So guess which hand I have this in? Or they'll ask you to put something in your hands. And then they'll try and guess. But when they go to guess which hand, they start touching you. Or one client that I worked with, the person started by putting their hand on your knee, and they would just wait to see how far up your leg they could get it before you would say stop. And every day they would try it again. And every day, the next day they would try it again and see how high up on the leg. Because the kid starts wearing down over time because it starts becoming comfortable. It feels uncomfortable, but they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to get it to stop. And so they let it happen. Because remember, this is really confusing for kids because they want to think that it's okay because they love this person. They care. They know this person. Can you imagine when it's grandpa, when it's an uncle, when it's the babysitter, okay? That's why they love this person. They trust this person. They want this person in their life. So if they say anything, now they're going to lose somebody that's important in their life. And then the actual sexual behavior starts happening, and then it's about maintaining control. And here's how they do it. When people have been molested, you know what they have a harder time dealing with? What was said to them, not actually what was physically done to them. It's the, if you weren't so pretty, this wouldn't be happening to you. Nobody's going to believe you if you tell anybody. Nobody cares about you that much. You're going to be in way more trouble than I'm going to be if you do this. I'll never love you or trust you again if you tell anybody. Forgive me, girls, but how many of you have heard that? Because I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands here. But the truth is, I'm sure more than one of you, if not half of you in this room, have had boys ask you for pictures of you, that you would send them pictures of you naked. Right? And they'll tell you things like, I'm not going to be your friend anymore if you don't. I won't show anybody. That is the biggest bunch of baloney that you could ever hear. Okay? What? Yeah. Because it's the guy's fault? And I get it, guys. There are girls now that are more than willing to send pictures of themselves to you as well. Okay? And I don't know if you've talked about this, have you talked about this at all? Please, 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 if you haven't heard this already, forgive me if I'm being repetitive, but if you have pictures on your phone of a girl naked, you are that child predator. There is no difference in the laws right now, if you have that on your phone, if you send that, girls, You are one of those people that distributes child pornography, and there's no law against that, or separate than that, than the 40-year-old idiot who's doing it, who's truly hurting and harming young children. That's huge, because you know what that means? That goes on your record the rest of your life. This isn't a juvie thing. This isn't cleared at 18. It's on there the rest of your life, okay? And I gotta admit, this is one of those, if I ever found a picture like that on my son's phone, you better believe I will find who that girl is and track her down and make sure her parents know and turn her in without a blink of my eye. Because if you're gonna do that, if that's how little you think of yourself, then who else are you willing to harm? Because I don't want a child predator in my child's life. And that's how serious this is. And I realize I'm sounding like a parent right now, forgive me. But this is how important it is, and it's hard to think long term, oh, that will never happen to me. Yes, it can. And just don't get me wrong, because if I ever found a picture like that on my son's phone, and he forwarded it to a friend, his ass is grass. And I'm the lawnmower, and he's going to be in big time trouble. Okay? Okay, I'm sorry. Don't tell your parents I said that word. But I'm sure you guys are going, oh my goodness, that's nothing compared to what I heard. Okay, well, I'll try and be good though. So, do you see how that whole pattern of grooming happens, okay? The other part that you guys have to understand, that when someone is molested, 1/3 of all molesters are 18 years or younger, not older. How does that happen? It's the babysitter. You're at a friend's house and the older brother has a friend over and something happens in that. 18 years and younger are the molesters. 1/3 of them. My day and age, that didn't happen. It was the older, it was the adults. It wasn't the younger. And again, we're back to the internet again. How much exposure do you guys have? That's too much information, too young, too early, without enough, can I say, mental control and understanding, okay? That's huge. Okay, any questions up to this point? Do you feel like going, Mom, do you feel like that lecture again? I promise. You're not going to be in trouble after this, but I hope this is helpful to you guys. And so a couple things that I really want, here's the biggest thing that I want you to understand, and when it comes to you and relating to the kids you're working with, you cannot have two ways of relating to kids. You don't get to do one thing and then they can't. If you get to yell at a kid, they get to yell at you. If you're going to call them a name, like you're a brat today or you are obnoxious, then they get to call you a name. And I say this as a parent because it's not okay for me to tell my kids that they have to respect me and then treat them with disrespect. Okay? Can I give you a stupid example? If I want my kids to knock on the door before they walk into my bedroom, then I better knock on their door before I walk into their bedroom. It's called respect. If I don't want them yelling and calling me names, I better not call them names and yell at them. And don't get me wrong, I have my moments, just a few moments, that I don't handle it well, okay? I know, surprise, surprise. But when I do, I tell my kids, I'm sorry, I didn't have a right to talk to you that way. No excuses. I had a bad day, but that's not an excuse. I'm so sorry. You deserve better than that because you matter. Do you know why that's so important? Because if I treat my kids, if I give them two sets of rules, adults have all the power and I get to do it my way, and you have no power and you have to do it my way, guess what we just did? We set kids up to be molested, to be abused. Why? Because when that grooming person comes along, when that person comes along that wants to take advantage of them, they go ding, ding, ding. When the older person has more authority and more power than you do. Because I taught them that. They have one set of rules, I have a different set of rules. And I don't want my kids to ever think that. Treating them with respect teaches them how they can expect to be treated by a boss, by a friend, by a spouse, and that works. Sorry for spitting on you. Okay, right? That works, long term. You can't just look at right now. So when you're talking to these kids, when you're giving them eye contact, when you're listening to them, when you're showing they care, you're teaching them that that's something that they can expect in relationships, that they might not be getting at home. And that matters, that makes a difference, okay? Now, I talk about all this sexual abuse stuff, but please don't be afraid to touch a kid on the shoulder. Please don't be afraid to give them the side hug. Be conscious though. Don't, you know what I mean? Guys, don't be helping a girl go into the bathroom. I mean, it's common sense kind of stuff, right? But I'm sure Lindsay could give you better stories of common sense kind of stuff, going, okay, here's what's happened in the past. Here's not, but the truth is, guys, here at the club, we've had a situation where 11-year-old boys were taking pictures of their penis and forwarding it. Okay? They didn't know any better. Why does the 11-year-old boy know about taking a picture of his penis and forwarding it and that'd be funny?
Older brother.
Older brother, that's right. That's right. Too much information, too young. We don't want to punish them. Again, it's not about shaming people for having sexual thoughts, sexual desires, because it's how we're wired, right? But it's about learning how to keep it into appropriate control and understanding. What do we do with this information? Okay, so I want to tell you a few things about signs when a child might be molested. And again, don't jump to conclusions. If you ever get a feeling, and sometimes you just get it in your gut, then you're like, you know what, something's wrong, something else has happened here, go talk to Lindsay, go talk to Sam, go talk to one of the coordinators, okay? Don't keep that information to yourself, because I'll tell you what, if you found out later the kid was, or it was actually happening right then and you didn't say anything, you will kick yourself for not saying anything. It can't hurt to bring it to somebody in authority. Don't go to your buddy. Don't go to another kid in the club. Go to the authority, okay? Whoever that. Who would those people be, Sam?
Be Lindsay for sure. It might also be Stephanie or Christina. Okay, and you can and Holly for those of you if she's around. Okay, but definitely take it to one of those folks because they've been trained how to make the call from there and what needs to happen.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing is, if a kid comes and says, I want to tell you something, but I really need you to keep it a secret. What do you say back?
Can't promise.
I can't promise you to keep a secret, but I promise I will be here for you. I promise I will be your friend and I will walk through this with you, whatever it is. Because remember, somebody told them to keep this a secret. Think about it, if Grandpa told them to keep a secret. If it's dad or brother doing it, and I've actually had this situation where brother was horribly molesting the younger daughter, dad and mom told her to keep it a secret. Why? Because they didn't want the brother to be in trouble, and they didn't want to look bad. And they thought they stopped it, which was such baloney, but no. So that girl had a lot of trepidation before she ever told anybody. So if a kid is really reluctant to tell you, just remember, somebody told them to keep a secret. They know if they break that secret, somebody's going to get hurt. Right? And their fear is that you're not going to believe them. Okay, so here are some signs that a child has been abused. Low self-esteem, feeling of worthlessness, an abnormal or distorted view of sex, meaning they talk about it in kind of some funky ways. Maybe some weird stuff like, well, there's all sorts of stuff, but anyway, just kind of like, okay, wait, that's not normal. So trust your gut on that. Withdrawn and mistrustful of adults, suicidal, unusual interest in or avoidance of all things of sexual nature. Like, you know how sex comes up and you can laugh about it, but they feel really uncomfortable with that. Now remember, we live in a very conservative area, so it might be part of their religious training too that that's uncomfortable. So you don't want, again, don't jump to conclusions. Sleeping problems or nightmares, depression or withdrawal from friends and family, seductiveness or acting out sexually. Girls, this is often you guys, dressing in ways like, what on earth are you thinking? The kind of that says, screaming out, dressing, often, you know, that's inappropriate dressing, often can be kind of a sign of that. Statements that your bodies are dirty or damaged or fear that there's something wrong with them. Refusal to go to school, delinquency, cognitive problems, secretiveness, or unusual aggressiveness. Lots of different signs, right? So it's about paying attention. It's about listening to them. And again, if they ever want to talk to you about something, asking questions. Okay, anything you want to ask, anything you need to add?